Warning, warning. This is not a test.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Kamen Rider Saber continued this week with episode 2, so let's talk about it. The episode opens with Tassel giving us a brief recap from last time. Then we dive straight on in with Rintaro, our mysterious blue man, entering in on a blue lion. His debut scene talking to Toma and Mai, is actually really good. I enjoyed. There's a decent amount of good comedy. We find out that he really likes sweets. I'm certain that will come back plenty of times throughout the season. And just, we get some good banter between them. I really enjoy it. But at the end of the day, what Rintaro is there for is the Brave Dragon Wonder Ride book. But Toma refuses to give it up because he believes that he can definitely help save people with its power. Rintaro then gets a call on his phone, which looks like a Wonder Ride book, sure, thematic, that requests that he bring Toma to the Sword of Logos HQ. So he creates a book, he uses a book gate, which looks like a brown Wonder Ride book, and he creates a door inside the bookstore that is a portal to the Sword of Logos HQ. And he and Toma enter into the door as we lead into the actual title sequence. We get the title sequence this episode, much earlier than I kind of thought we were. I thought we were going to get it next week, maybe even the week after. But we get it here, which is nice. Almighty is definitely not one of my favorite themes yet. It probably won't be. But it's not bad. I think that it's growing on me, and the inclusion of seeing the visuals with it definitely helps. But from there, we go into the Sword of Logos HQ, and we meet Sophia, the mentor of all swordsmen that work for the Sword of Logos. We find out that the Sword of Logos HQ is in the North Pole. I don't know how important this is going to be, but I thought you should know that. But from there, we find out that a piece of the bubble world from last time is still there, causing havoc. And so, Rintaro, Toma, and a very persistent bike-wielding Mai enters into the bubble world. Here, we get Rintaro's first henshin as he transforms into Kamen Rider Blades. He faces off against the Ant Megiddo, Megiddo. That's the name of our Monsters of the Week this season, I believe. And we get a lot of good stuff as he fights the Ant Megiddo and the Foot Soldiers for this season. They aren't given a name here, so I don't know what they're called yet. I'll just call them Foot Soldiers for now, though. We got a lot of cool effects on Blades using water, because he's a water elemental knight, I guess, as opposed to Saber, who has fire, and some of the other elements that are going to be coming up later. We then see the Wonder finishers, which is, so the Wonder Lion finisher from Blades, and then later we'll get the Wonder Dragon finisher from Saber. That happens if you just tap the book in the belt. And it summons out, that's how we get the giant blue lion, or later the giant red dragon, and they go beat up stuff, and you kind of just hit things too. It's nice. Then the grasshopper Megiddo appears and causes a really bad sound that kind of disorients everybody. Saber jumps in to fight off the foot soldiers for a little bit, and he fights off them and beats them with the Dragon Wonder finisher, or Wonder Dragon finisher, sorry. But then they're all disoriented, and Mai passes out. And so Rintaro and Toma have to retreat to make sure that she's okay. From there, we find out that Caliber used to be one of the swordsmen in the Sword of Logos, but 15 years ago he rebelled and many a good swordsman were killed, which is very sad. Sophia then says it's too dangerous for you guys to go back and try and restore the piece of the world that is destroyed, but Toma says hope exists beyond our resolution, which both Rintaro and Sophia recognize as being the thing that the old Saber said, and so does the HQ, as it opens up a compartment at the center table of it, and in there is a bike Wonder Ride book titled Diago Speedy. From there, Saber and Blades return to the bubble world, and we see the debut of Diago Speedy in bike form, along with the Ride Gatriker, which is Blades' personal rider machine, and it is a tricycle. I don't think we've had a trike before. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I think this is a first for Kamen Rider. It's very nice. It's got twin Gatling guns on the front. I think it looks cool. I think Diago Speedy is a fine base rider machine. It's alright. From there, we go into a bike fight with a bunch of CGI. It looks fine. It's not terrible. But this is really where we get to see a lot of the camaraderie and an interesting balance between Rintaro and Toma. Because for the first time, for the first time in a very long while, we have a non-antagonistic secondary out of the gate. Most of the time, the secondary rider will try and fight the main rider out of the gate and is kind of a standoffish jerk. But this season, they're really comrades. They're comrades. They're friends. They actually really are supporting each other. And we see the balance between Rintaro, who is very proficient in fighting, and Toma, who has a bunch of literary knowledge. And he's just like, oh, the two Megidos are based on the grasshopper and the ant story. The grasshopper is protecting the queen ant. Go beat up the shiny one while I try and take care of the grasshopper. So Blades goes off to do that, and we see Blades' final page finisher, which is different, and that is the rider kick. They both do have rider kicks. We see both in this episode. It's called the final page finisher, and that's what Blades uses to defeat the Ant Magido. And out from the ant pops out the Jack and the Beanstalk Wonder Ride book. It's not explicitly called that, but it is based on Jack and the Beanstalk. You can tap the different Wonder Ride books on the sword, and that gives it a different attack to use. Blades showcases this as he tries to hit a now flying grasshopper Megido, but he then passes it over to Saber, thinking that Saber's going to use the same sword trick, but instead he just puts it into the belt and accesses a new form based on Jack and the Beanstalk. We see more of Toma's literary knowledge versus Rentaro's practical knowledge, as Rentaro's just like, shoot the seeds up at the bad guy, and Toma shoots it straight into the ground and creates a giant beanstalk that he then rides up on his bike and attacks at the grasshopper Megido. We then see Saber's final page rider kick. It is beautiful. I really like the page slash and the sword that is kind of symbolic of Saber kicking through the monster. It looks great. With the grasshopper destroyed, we get the Peter Pan Wonder Ride book. This one is called the Peter Fantasia Wonder Ride book, but I'm going to call it the Peter Pan one because it's Peter Pan. From there, the destroyed bubble world gets returned to normal. We get a brief shot of Caliber saying that his plans are accelerating. Ooh, drama. And then we go back to the bookstore to close out the episode with Mai teasing Rentaro with more sweets before somebody pops through the book gate riding on a magic carpet who seems to know Toma. Tassel then closes us out and was just like, wow, that was crazy. tune in for more. And then we go into the end theme, which, unlike Almighty, has not grown on me since I saw it last week. I haven't skipped it yet. I'm close to, though. Overall, this episode is good. I really liked it. Blades is a great character. He's a great foil to Toma. I really enjoy his suit. I don't love the lion on the chest. I think something a little bit more subdued would have been nice. But then people would say that it just looks like Beast Hyper, so really there's no winning. But overall, his costume looks great. Jack and the Beanstalk Saber looks nice too. I think that having a bit more balance in them having both tailcoats on is a great addition. It really balances the suit out. Overall, this was a pretty decent episode. Definite improvement from last week. I am enjoying, I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Overall, I'd say that I give it an A-. It still has room to grow. But it was a marked improvement from last week, and I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun YouTube things. You know, I have to say it, it's YouTube stuff. Take care, my friends.